My father does not want me to marry you, but I will marry you no matter what it takes. Those were her words, not whispered, not uncertain, but spoken with a kind of fire that does not ask permission from reality. And I remember standing there, unable to respond immediately, because it was not just what she said, it was what it meant. Defiance against a king, against my father, against the structure that holds my entire existence together. As a prince, I have been trained to hear many things without reacting: threats, demands, political negotiations disguised as conversations. But nothing prepares you for someone looking at you like the world itself is negotiable if you are willing to fight for it. And I did not know whether to admire her or fear what she was asking me to become. My father is not a man who changes his mind easily. He does not speak in suggestions. He speaks in decisions that are already complete before the conversation begins. When he told me he did not approve of her, he did not raise his voice. He did not need to. Approval is not something he gives. It is something he controls. She is not suitable, he said simply. That was all. No explanation I was allowed to challenge. No argument I was expected to win. In his world, suitability is not about love. It is about power, alliances, and survival of the throne. And I have spent my entire life learning how to obey without appearing like I am being forced. But this time, something inside me did not accept it so easily. Because she was not a political match. She was not part of any alliance. She was not meant to exist in my world at all. And yet she had entered it. Not through strategy, but through something far more dangerous. Choice. I remember the first time she told me she would not give up. We were standing in a quiet corridor of the palace, far away from the eyes of court and guards. The air between us felt different that day, heavier, as if something had already started moving toward a conclusion neither of us understood yet. I will marry you, she said again, softer this time, but still certain. Even if your father refuses, even if the whole kingdom stands against it. I looked at her then, really looked, and I saw something I was not trained to deal with. Not fear, not ambition, but conviction, pure, unfiltered conviction. Do you understand what you're saying? I asked her. Yes, she replied immediately. No, I said quietly. You understand what you feel, not what this will become. That made her pause for the first time, but only for a moment. I understand enough, she said, and I realized then she believed love was enough to move a world that had been built long before either of us existed. I wished I still believed that. Too, that night I sat alone in the palace hall where decisions are usually made. The same hall where wars are planned without swords, where marriages are decided without hearts, where futures are shaped without asking the people who will live them. My father's words echoed in my mind. She is not suitable, as if suitability had ever protected anyone from suffering, as if the crown itself was built on suitable choices. It was not. It was built on sacrifices people were never asked to understand, and now I was being asked to make one or refuse to make it. Both choices had consequences. Both would break something. The only difference was what I was willing to lose. When I met her again the next day, she was waiting for me as if nothing had changed. But everything had. I spoke to my father, I said. She watched me carefully, and he will not agree, I admitted. There was no softness in that truth, only reality. Her expression tightened slightly, but she did not step back. Then I will change his mind, she said. I shook my head. You can't. Then I will wait until he does. That is not how this works, I said more firmly. She took a step closer. Then change how it works. That was the moment I understood something important. She did not see the system. She saw only the outcome she wanted, and that made her either incredibly brave or dangerously blind. Do you think I have freedom? I asked her. She frowned. Of course you do. I let out a quiet breath. I don't, I said. Not in the way you think. She hesitated. That's not true, she said. It is, I replied, just not obvious to you. I gestured slightly toward the palace around us. This is not just my home. It is my responsibility, my identity, my future. Everything I am is already written in expectations I did not choose. Her voice softened slightly. And you accept that? I survive it, I corrected. Silence followed. Not anger, not disagreement, just the beginning of understanding something she had not fully seen before. You're afraid, she said quietly. That surprised me, not because she was wrong, but because she was right. I am careful, I replied. No, she said. You're afraid of what you'll lose. I did not answer immediately, because again, she was right, but not in the way she thought. I am afraid of what will be destroyed because of me, I said finally. That made her go quiet, because that is the difference she had not considered. This is not just about us, it is about everything around us. 2 days passed after that, and nothing changed on the surface. But inside me something was shifting. Her words stayed with me. I will marry you no matter what it takes. It sounded like love, but it also sounded like war. And I began to understand that sometimes the most dangerous thing in a royal world is not rebellion from enemies, but determination from someone who refuses to see limits. My father eventually asked me directly, "Is this serious?" He said. I knew what he meant. Not feelings, not emotions, but consequences. Yes, I said. He studied me for a long moment, and then he said something I will never forget. Then choose carefully, because once you step outside what is approved, you do not step back in the same way. That was not a warning, that was experience. Now I stand between two truths. Her truth love can overcome everything. My truth love can destroy everything. And I am expected to choose one over the other. But what no one understands is this: I am not choosing between her and my father. I am choosing between two futures I will have to live with forever. And whichever one I choose, something will be lost that cannot be replaced. Because in my world, even love is a decision that comes with a price no one is ever fully prepared to pay. That night, I could not escape her words. They repeated themselves in my mind like a promise that refused to fade, even when I tried to bury it under duty and logic. I will marry you no matter what it takes. It sounded powerful when she said it, almost beautiful in its certainty. But now, alone, in the silence of my chamber, I began to understand the weight behind it. Because in a royal world, no matter what it takes is never simple. It always means consequences someone else will have to carry. And I was that someone. I stood by the window, looking out at the kingdom that had already decided my future long before I was asked to speak in it. For the first time, I didn't see it as just a crown waiting for me. I saw it as a boundary, a limit, a line drawn around my life that love alone might not be able to cross without breaking something else in the process. And still, despite everything, I could not fully let go of her voice. Because even if this path is dangerous, even if it costs me more than I can measure, a part of me no longer wants to live in a world where I never even tried to choose for myself.